Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to practice Niralamba Sarvangasana. Niralamba means unsupported. Classically, when we practice our shoulder stand, it's known as Salamba Sarvangasana. Salamba means supported, and we use the hands on the back as support. Today we're going to practice no support, and we'll be using the wall to help, just to get that feeling of stability before we try and free balance. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. You'll note that I have my mat right up against the wall. I've got my shoulder stand support ready. I use a couple of shoulder stand cushions underneath a couple of blankets. You may just be using blankets, and that's fine, as long as you've got the right amount of height for you and for your neck. And you'll note that there's not much distance between the wall and the blanket setup. We really only need the length of our head and neck between the wall and this support. It can be helpful to use a bolster, or perhaps even a couple of bricks there for the pelvis, so that we've got something that makes it easier to roll over to the wall and soft landing, soft gentle landing when we come out of the pose. I also like to use a blanket so that it is draped over my support, and then it comes underneath the head so that the hair doesn't get stuck on the sticky mat, and there's also that aspect of padding for the back of the head. We'll also be practicing a couple of leg variations using the wall. So helpful if you've got space on either sides of you. We're going to do Parsvaika Pada Sarvangasana, where we keep one foot up on the wall and we slide the other foot out and down towards the floor. What could be helpful if you feel stiff is if you have a couple of bricks on either sides of you for the feet to land on. I'm going to place my bricks here out to the sides, and this is something that you'll need to navigate in your practice. Well, whereabouts do the bricks need to go, and are they high enough? Perhaps you won't reach the bricks. Perhaps ultimately you need to be a bit further away from the wall, depending on the length of your adductor muscles and your hamstrings for that particular variation. But for Niralamba Sarvangasana, we come in as close to the wall as we can manage, again, about our head and neck's length. Let's sit on our bolster or our bricks, and we'll prepare to lie back. So you lie back. We don't need our belt, because we're not going to be placing our hands on the back and needing to bind the arms there. Make sure your head is sitting on the lower level, and of course you're not hitting against the wall. Then you can press your hands into your bolster or into the floor next to the hips and swing the legs over to the wall. The toes and the knees can come to the wall. Now we do need to roll our shoulders under, so if it's helpful you can slide the knees down a little bit more so they're lower than the hips as you roll the shoulders under. So walking from shoulder to shoulder to try and tuck those shoulder tips underneath you a bit more and get the shoulder blades riding up the back. So we don't want to be standing on the shoulder blades. You see how much the chest is collapsing there. So as I'm trying to get my shoulder blades up the back, I roll shoulder tips under, and then I've got more capacity to lift up from the chest through the front body. So it can help to turn the palms up. Press the wrists down. If you've got a bolster, work with the wrists into the bolster. And then we'll straighten one leg up the wall, other leg up the wall. If it helps, you can have the feet hip width apart. Otherwise, bring the legs together. See if you can bring the inner feet together. And still press the arms down into the blankets, into the bolster, if you've got the bolster there. And just make sure the neck feels okay. Sometimes it's helpful to lift the chin away from the chest just a little bit to ensure there's no tension being held in the throat and the neck. Now we're going to attempt to take the feet off the wall. Try 1 foot at a time. 1 foot off the wall. Lift your tailbone up. Take the other foot off the wall. And if you feel precarious, you can always rely on the wall. Keep your feet on the wall. You're still practicing the pose. But if you can manage, you're balancing. Feet are off the wall, inner legs together, inner feet together. You're spinning the inner thighs back, directing the tailbone up. Then you can bring the feet back, 1 foot, other foot, and we're going to work with arms in a different position. So we can work Now, arms coming up alongside the body. Eventually we're going to work there, but let's start with the fingernails on the wall, back of the hands on the wall. So we've got still the toes on the wall while we're establishing ourselves here. Then if you feel capable, one foot off the wall, other foot off the wall. The hands are still on the wall to give you support. If it's helpful, you can have the feet hip width apart. Otherwise, see if you can bring the legs together. Inner feet together, roll the inner thighs back, lift the tailbone up. Now, if you feel that you can work more with your balance on the top of the shoulders, take one hand off the wall, other hand off the wall, and then bring the hands alongside the body. Go on directing your energy upwards through the legs to the feet. Breathe. Then take your fingernails, your hands back to the wall, feet back to the wall. And we're going to bend the knees onto the wall. Slide the knees down. Give the spinal muscles a bit of rest. The arms can rest now as you take the upper arms out onto your shoulder stand support. Create a right angle there in the elbows as the back of the hands come to the floor. Now, you could potentially take the knees off the wall and just the front feet are on the wall. Sometimes if you have the knees coming onto the wall all the way to the head of the shins there, it's too strong in the back or too strong in the neck. So you can pull the knees off the wall a little bit. But the knees have slid down towards the head. So we're doing a variation of Karna Pidasana, letting the spinal muscles rest. Doing Niralamba Sarvangasana can be quite a challenge for the spinal muscles as we're trying to hold ourselves in the balance. So this can feel restful. Then we're going to try one more variation. We've got the arms out to the side somewhat, and we'll try balancing with the arms in this position. So straighten the legs, one leg up, other leg up. Start with the toe tips on the wall. Lift the tailbone, firm up the legs. Then if you feel capable of balancing, take your feet off the wall. You can take one foot at a time or both feet together. Then squeeze those inner feet together. Press the inner feet up towards the ceiling. Peel the outer feet back down towards your outer hips. So that helps you feel compact in the hips. And bring your toes back to the wall. Bring the arms back behind you towards the bolster. Make sure your shoulders are still drawing underneath you, and then bring your hands onto your back. You can support yourself there, hands on the back like we would for our standard shoulder stand. And we're going to try Parsvaika Pada Sarvangasana, the side one leg shoulder stand. So turn the right leg out. Now as you slide the right foot out and down, you can counterlever the left leg, the left foot just a little bit to the left. Slide that right foot out and down. Go all the way down, if you can, to your brick, to the floor, but press your hips forward towards the wall so you're not sticking the buttocks back. You can use your hands to stretch the skin on the back up. Direct your tailbone up and see if you can roll the outer right hip up. Press the head of the right thigh up. And then slide the right leg back up the wall. Legs together. Readjust your hands if you need. Then turn the left leg out. As the left leg slides out and down, then the right leg can counterlever just a little bit out to the right. Take that left leg out and down. And initially you might feel that you're sticking the buttocks back. Once you've got your foot down, even if it's just what we might say is halfway down, you stay and then we readjust the pelvis. So if you can reach to the brick or to the floor, go there. Press the pelvis forward, tailbone in. So you're directing the tailbone up. Roll the inner right thigh back so you're not turning that right leg out. And then cut the outer left hip up, outer left buttock up. The hands are still supporting the lift of the back. And slide the leg back up, all the way back up to shoulder stand. And then we'll bring the knees back to the wall. So sliding the knees down the wall, separate the knees, relax the arms wherever they feel at ease. and then we'll come out of the pose. So as we come out, reach your hands to the bolster behind you. Slow the descent, control the descent with your abdominal strength, and then we'll come down to rest. So as you rest, you'll need to slide off your support. Perhaps the bolster can go aside. Lie flat on your back and make sure that the head and the shoulders are on the same level. Knees can rest against each other. When you're ready, you can roll over to the side and come to sitting. We'll stretch forward. Let's use, whether it's the bolster or your shoulder stand support underneath the forearm. So we're in Adho Mukha Virasana, big toes touching, knees apart. Stretch forward, front body long, spinal muscles long and broad. Rest your forehead down. So keep your arms forward, armpit chest is lengthening that way. And keep your buttocks back and down. Easy, steady breathing. And as you're ready, come to sit. Most of my YouTube videos are short snippets of what we may incorporate in a longer full-length class. And I have a video library with over 380 full-length classes on offer in my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. I invite you to head over to my website, check out the video library, subscribe, and you'll receive a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.